Everybody close your eyes. Nobody looking around. Put yourself in the woods. You're in the woods. You're walking through, and there's not very many trails where you're at in the woods you're in. It's really thick. It's really dark. And you're trying to figure out a way out of these woods. Are you there? And you're trying to think, you're looking around saying, how do I get out of here? You're looking around for somebody to come and help you. You're looking around for some guidance of some sort to get you out of these woods that you're in. Are you with me?
Yes.
And then you look around and you see a friend. And you ask a friend for help. That friend can't really help you though, because they're right next to you. Right? They don't know the way out of the woods. And then you go to somebody else, you find a random stranger. And you go to him and say, hey, can you help me? Well, he's right there next to you. He can't help you out of the woods. But then all of a sudden, imagine, use your imagination. Imagine a hunter comes up to you. Imagine a guy that has spent years and years of his life tracking in those woods and forging paths in those woods where he doesn't even need he doesn't mind about the overgrowth of the trails that are there. Do you think you'd ask him for help to get out? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what we're going to talk about today. You can look up here today. We're going to talk about this idea of helping you pursue your passion, your success, your purpose in life with I graduated from high school in 2006. How many of you graduated in 2006? One person, and that is, what's your name starting?
Antoinette.
Antoinette. Oh, you're the here lady. That's right. Okay. Antoinette. So I graduated from high school in 2006 right here in Cherville, Indiana. And I went to college that fall. I began college education here in Crown Point, and went to college for a little while. And I began to work a job at UPS right here in Chicago. You guys may know UPS, pretty big company. And I went to work there as an hourly employee. And while I was there, I met some interesting people at the job, and they would probably be compared to the person that would be standing next to me to try and help me pursue success in my life. They were always happy to offer me advice about something they had never done before in their own lives. They were always happy to do that, and if I may, the results in my life showed because I listened to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I got to thinking, man, what if I could actually have somebody in my life that could actually influence me, that actually has success in a particular area of where I want to be one day? What if I actually could find that person? So how many of you have ever gone to Facebook for good advice? Oh, come on now. Come on, you know you do. So back then I was programmed, so to speak. I went to Facebook. And I started thinking, man, I bet I can find somebody on Facebook. I went to LinkedIn, and I started looking for people, and if I may, I found somebody. I found a guy that taught me when I was in high school. One of my head was, he had a dream. He had a purpose for pursuing his success in his life, and my friend Paul, I called him up, and I found his number. I found out that Paul, on Facebook, I saw a posting of him where he had started a multi-million-dollar trucking company in the basement of his house right here in Maryville, Indiana. And I thought, man, I'd like to have that. I'd like to talk to that guy. So I found Paul's number, and I began to search, and I went and met Paul. And that day, when I made that decision, was probably one of the better decisions I've ever made in the past several years of my life, of choosing to surround myself with somebody that not only talked about success, but he actually had some success in his life. He actually had validated success, and I began to work for Paul. While I was working at UPS, I began to work for Paul as an apprentice. Simply, I went to him, I said, Paul, teach me what you can. Give me some information that I can take with me that I don't know yet, because the people I'm surrounding myself with are giving me information, but I already know all that. I really want to know how to be actually successful in my life and pursue a good mentor. Paul became my mentor that day. Several years later, about 2 years ago, I was sitting here at Schneider. I used to work at Schneider and Gary. Everybody know what that is? I had gotten promoted through UPS, but I was working as a manager right here at Schneider, sitting in my cubicle job, doing the job thing for a little while, And it was just getting frustrating. Because again, I was sinking back into that mindset of, man, what if I took advice from my friend instead of a man like Paul? What if I started taking advice from people that actually don't have success in their life? What if I did that? And I began to sink back a little bit. But I got a text message from Paul, and this was a key shift in my life and in my thinking. I got a text message from Paul that day, and the text message simply said, Dan, can you call me? Now, for me, if I got a text like that from a friend, I would probably return the call later on in the day, right? Right? But when I got it from Paul, I jumped up, I literally got up from my cubicle, I ran to a little office, a little side office, and I called Paul right away. Because I thought in my mind where I had been getting advice from people that did not have success, I thought Paul was going to give me a job working for him. And I was so excited about it. I couldn't wait. But Paul didn't hire me that day. He didn't hire me. Because you see, Paul was a mentor. He was not a friend. He was a mentor to me. Paul instead invited me to go and become a part of life leadership and begin developing me. Surrounding myself with people that actually have fruit on the tree. Very shortly thereafter, in fact, the next week, I got introduced to my other mentor now, named Cliff. I got introduced to him, and what a privilege it's been the past 2 years, the results I have seen in my life. And I'm nowhere special. I'm nobody special. I put my pants on the same way everybody else does, but I want to tell you, I'm so thankful that that day I decided to make a decision to pick a good mentor in my life. Somebody that could actually lead me through the forest. Somebody that had actually been there before, that actually had made it through it. He took me by the side and he began to lead me through that. And now I get to have some amazing mentors and surround myself with people now that actually have fruit on the tree. And if I may, people like Miss Miller. People like Miss Miller that I get to work with and I get to talk to. And she has taught me more in my life than the past couple of weeks of just being with her. It's been amazing, the results I've seen, just because I decided I'm going to find someone that's got fruit. I'm going to give you 3 simple thoughts today. Shake yourselves a little. Give you 3 simple thoughts today. There's 3 R's to mentoring. 3 R's to mentoring. Okay? 3 R's to mentoring. Number 1, first of all, let me make a couple statements before I introduce that. Your choice to have a mentor at this stage in your life right now where you are, and I think of as students in college, okay? Your choice to have a mentor in your life right now, at this stage in your life, is going to put you, there are many students all over the country at this particular stage in their life, just like you are. This choice to have a good mentor in your life is going to put you not 10 times more effective, not 100 times more effective, but statistically speaking, it can make you thousands of times more effective in your life simply because you chose a good mentor in your life. It's amazing what can happen. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the results you could have in your life if you chose to have a good mentor? Can you imagine that? Wouldn't that be amazing? Everyone that has achieved any kind of success in their life, you study them. Look on YouTube. Look at your TED Talks. Look at your people that have educated themselves and have not only taken the college education, but have also chosen a self-directed education, have chosen to invest in themselves and see themselves as an investment. Those people, look at them. Every one of them that have achieved any kind of success in their life will only say, I had a good mentor in my life. I had a good mentor. That's how, that really is the key. It really is important to have somebody to help you get out of those trees, so to speak, in your life. Number 1 R, I want to write this down. Number 1, the word relationship. Relationship. Now remember when you pick a mentor in your life, when you're picking a mentor and you're choosing somebody that you want to invest in your life. I'll talk to my friends. I'm very nice to my friends, but I want a mentor. I want somebody who's better than a friend. Someone that's willing to invest their life into me and willing to pour time into me and invest in my life. A relationship is very important. Let me give you this. When you go and you're looking, let me give you a little more practical idea here. When you're going to talk to a mentor, gonna go find somebody. You're out there searching and you're looking for somebody. It's got to be somebody that you, as a mentee, are willing to open yourself up and allow that mentor to ask you questions that you might not want to give, information you might not want to give to a friend. My friend Cliff and Paul, they know things about me that people in this world have no idea. But you know why I have to be willing to open myself up to them? Because I want them to lead me out of the trees that I get stuck in. And I'm honest with my mentor. If I don't, I'm hurting myself. Does that make sense? Are you understanding that? So let's understand this concept of having a relationship. Find somebody that you're willing to have a relationship, to sit down and you're willing to let him speak life into you, or her speak life into you. And you're willing to see them as more than just a friend, but as a mentor in your life. A relationship. As a mentor, and some of you, many of you, all of you hopefully, will be mentors. Hopefully all of you will be leaders in your life, and in some area or another, some of you may be mentored and also be a mentor at the same time. That's valuable, that's important, that's a key. So as you choose to have a mentor, you also may be a mentor to maybe a younger brother or sister, maybe a friend or somebody younger than you that may want to have some success in their life where you may have success in your life at. So when you choose, make sure you as a mentor sit down with them and ask them questions. Don't sit down and just start throwing advice out to people. Don't sit down. That's mistreating people. When you sit down and start telling them all the things you know, that's what friends do. But it's better to be a mentor when you're sitting down and you're sharing with them advice and you're going to ask them questions and develop a relationship with that person. A relationship of trust. Trust. Number one is relationship. Number two, results. Results. This is very simple, very practical. Results. Being a mentor, being mentored in my life has been a very, very wonderful decision, but it's been a tough decision. I've had to do things I didn't feel comfortable doing. But you know what? It has led me through a path where maybe I can achieve some success in my life, perhaps. And I can achieve, it is just an amazing opportunity to develop these relationships with people that we get to serve and love and enjoy the privilege of working with. But I want to tell you, you've got to find people that have results in their life. Results. If you're going to go to somebody for financial advice, how many of you would like financial advice? Financial advice? All of us would, wouldn't we? We all need better advice, because where are we getting it from? TV, Facebook, aren't we? And so we need better financial advice, and so let me tell you this, don't take advice from broke people. All right? Stop taking financial advice from broke people. Man, if he's broke, stop getting his results. No, I don't want those results financially in my life. But I had to make that decision simply because a mentor guided me that direction. Think of the results that you want in your life and find somebody that has those results in his or her life. Number three, we're almost done. Number three, reframing. Reframe. Results, relationship, and reframe is an important word. Because when it comes to mentoring, the job of a mentor is simply to reframe your thinking. Okay? The Cubs, so take the Cubs, for example. All you see on that scoreboard is 3-2, right? That's it. All that scoreboard says is that the Cubs scored 3, and who they played? Dodgers. And the Dodgers scored 2. That's all that scoreboard says. Doesn't say anything else but 3-2. But what you and I are guilty of when we go and we look at that scoreboard, we add emotion to it. We look at that and say, I can't win this game because the score is not in my favor. There's no way I'm going to win. I'm not cut out for this. I'm the worst player in the world. How am I ever going to win this game? But that's not what the scoreboard's saying. All it says is 3-2. Does that make sense? Are you with me on that? Have you ever added emotion into your decisions? So think of yourself on a wrestling mat. You've got only 2 people on that mat. Yes. You and the opponent. That's it. Outside that, and the referee. Outside that circle, there is nobody that's going to help you win that match. Nobody. Right? And the only 2 ways to win, so to get his shoulder blades on the mat, or win by points. Okay? Where you've got to take them down and you've got to do different moves and techniques. But man, whenever I was on the mat, it was just me and him. That's it. Me and my opponent. And it was up to me to win that match. But you know what my coach, my mentor, was smart enough to know? That the second that I take a look at that scoreboard, I lose the match. Does that make sense? Because you know what I do? I got 2 minutes left in that match. And I'm wrestling, I'm out of energy, and I end up on my back, and my eyes glance at that scoreboard, and I look at that and I think, man, he's beating me by 3 points. There's no way I can win. And right away I lost the match. Before it's even over. In my mind. Right? Because I added emotion to that. So my coach taught us early on at the beginning of our matches, my coach taught us, he said, don't look at the scoreboard, look at your coach. Don't look at the scoreboard. And guys, if I may, or ladies and gentlemen, if I may, in your life, don't look at the scoreboard like that. Let your mentor take a look at that scoreboard with you. If you're if you're shooting free throws, and I'm not a basketball player, but if you're shooting you can tell. But if I'm shooting free throws and I'm shooting 10 shots and I make 1 out of 10, all that tells me is that I'm a 10% shooter. That's all it says. It doesn't mean I'm a lazy, good-for-nothing guy. It doesn't mean I'm worthless. It doesn't mean I can never succeed in life. All it means is I'm a 10% shooter. So as a mentor, my job when I go to a mentee and somebody that I'm working with is I simply want to help them reframe their thinking, removing the emotion out of their life, right? I want to help them remove that emotion out of their decision and say, let's take a look at this. So you shot 10 free throws and scored 1. You're a 10% shooter. Tell you what, if we shoot 10 more and you can score 2, you can double it to 20%. Boy, if I had heard that when I was younger, man, that would have been cool. That would have been awesome. I never would have had to go through the emotional nonsense that I had to go through and all this battles that are fighting in our mind and constantly telling us, you can't be successful, you can't win. Because believe it or not, guys, how many of you know somebody that doesn't want you to win? Oh yeah, raise them hands. Absolutely. There are people out there that are not interested in you winning, but you know what? You've got mentors in your life that are interested in you winning and are interested in helping you achieve success in your life and of any kind. It doesn't have to just be financially. It can be professionally, it can be personally, and it may be personally in one area and not professionally in another where you're still working on it, but there's got to be some area that you can pursue with a good mentor in your life. So you've got to find a mentor that is willing to help you reframe your thinking. Let me give you some thoughts, some examples on that. Here's what a mentee will say. I lost the game. They'll look at the scoreboard at the end of the game. They're sweating. They're worn out. They lost the game. But a mentor will say, congratulations. You figured out another way not to play the game. Reframing. It's all about reframing. The mentee says, I can't get through this. It's getting tough. My marriage is not working out. My life is not coming together. My friends don't even like me and all this stuff. And I can't get through this problem in my life. Here's what the mentor says. Tell me where you're hitting a wall and we can walk around it together. Boy, what a way to reframe it. You think that removes some of the emotion out of our decisions? That's what a good mentor would say. A mentee will say, I can't see how this is going to work. And that key word is see. See. You can't see how it's going to work. Why? Because you're bouncing it off of the information you know, not the information the guy that has results in his life is giving. Does that make sense? The mentor will say, can you imagine what it's going to be like when you do win? When I first met with Cliff and Paul, this is what Cliff told me on the phone. Cliff is down in Dallas, Texas, so I don't get to see Cliff very often. I've met him several times. I enjoy very much, and he mentors hundreds and hundreds of people all over the country in their personal and professional and financial development. When I first talked to Cliff, he said, Daniel, number one, I'm not going to be your friend. Boy, someone who's looking for a mentor in his life to say that, I'm like, man, I don't want to talk to you. I want a friend. I want someone that's going to give me a hug when I'm crying. He said, I'm not going to be your friend. He said, you'll find out long term that I'm better than a friend because I'll be your mentor if you want. Now Cliff didn't come to me and ask me if he could mentor me. A mentor doesn't go around saying, hey, let me mentor you, let me mentor you. It's up to you to go to a mentor. Get out of your comfort zone and go ask somebody, hey, do you think you could help me in this area? And then Cliff said number two, he said, Daniel, I'm probably going to seem more like a tormentor than a mentor. And you know what? He was right. Man, when I first started that relationship and I studied his results and I let him reframe my thinking, man, it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun every time. It was reality. He started helping me remove that emotion out of the scoreboard of my life. And man, because of Cliff and Paul and these guys that have mentored me in my life and others, get to see some better results than I've ever seen in my life. But you know what they taught me early on? Imagine it. Imagine yourself winning. Imagine yourself winning that game before you even play it. You know Michael Jordan. How many of you know Michael Jordan? Popular guy, understands basketball, you know. But remember when Michael Jordan went to play baseball? Remember that?
Yeah.
Didn't do so well, did he?
Oh no.
Right? Terrible. But you know what he came back and did? He came back and realized what it was like to be a rookie again. He came back to the Bulls, and he came back and I think it was the Bulls. He came back and began to teach his rookies better how to get through the different stages as they became better basketball players. So that experience helped him. But you know what a good mentor told Michael Jordan? Make this a good opportunity to learn. But Michael Jordan could have taken that baseball opportunity, become the absolute worst individual in the world, but he decided, I'm going to keep around my mentor and hang around. I believe it was Phil Jackson was his best mentor in his life, and he began to hang around those guys that had success in their life and began to get advice from them on how to be successful. So can you imagine that? Can you imagine what it's going to be? There's a lot of people that will start but won't finish, and you know why they will start and not finish? Because they look at the scoreboard and add emotion to it. You know what though? When we look at that score, that we're given, and we add emotion to it, that's our fault, not Miss Miller's. Does that make sense? It's my fault. I need to go to a mentor and say, hey, can you help me through this? Can you help me through this, get around this wall that I'm running into? And man, mentors are happy to serve. That's what their life's calling is in many cases. Do you know what we need to do next? That's a good question that a mentor would ask. Do you know what we need to do next, Joe?